Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's yoga class is all about unknotting yourself by stretching to release tension, to keep yourself supple, and also as a preventative to injury. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify if you need to, and feel comfortable to rest if and when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to start off for today's class standing towards the top end of the mat with enough room to step back. You're just going to find a comfortable samasthiti with your feet stacking in parallel underneath your hips, all 10 toes looking to the front of the mat. Start squeezing the energy between your inner thighs together as if you were holding a block between them. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, then interlace the hands, making a little lattice. Invert the hands and push them away from you. Take a big inhale in, floating your interlaced hands overhead, and then start taking a gentle palm tree sway side to side. Let's do 3 sways to each side. Taking your hands in one direction, bumping your hips in the opposite direction, really starting to ease that tension out of the body. And then bring your hands down in active prayer and stop with them in front of your heart center. Keeping that parallel foot stance, take a big breath in, and on an exhale, bump the weight back into your bum and your heels as you sit back into an imaginary chair. Then come back to a nice standing frame, floating your hands overhead, reaching for the ceiling with the tips of your fingers. Let's do that twice more. Exhale to sit back in your chair. Make sure you're bumping the weight back into your bum and your heels. And then inhale to stand up nice and tall and reach for the sky with your hands sandwiched together. Last time. Big breath in. Then fold forward into a tabletop line, dangling your arms down from the floor. Think of this as a halfway lift. And on an exhale, fold forward as far as you can, maybe reaching your palms to the mat, or maybe just tapping them to your shin bones if the floor is not your friend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Try to keep the weight bearing equal on the balls and the heels of your feet. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold forward. Then step your right leg back and forge a little pyramid between both legs, all 10 toes looking to the front of the mat, and start rocking the weight back and forth between the feet. So when you ground the front foot, you bring the heel of the back foot off. When you ground the back foot, the toes of the front foot come off the mat. Play with that swaying motion. We're going to find our way from here into a plank line. Step the feet back one at a time and find a nice parallel line to the mat. Then gently begin rocking the weight back and forth, playing with a toe and a heel line on the feet. Then come to stillness, weight bearing equal on the hands and the feet. Come through your plank line to find an up dog, curving slightly through the spine, but strong through the arms, the shoulders, and the belly as you look up to the ceiling, keeping those toes tucked under. And then on a nice exhale, ease your way into a down dog stretch, piking your bum up to the ceiling. Let's play between those two shapes. Come through your plank line, find your up dog, maybe gently looking up towards the sky, dropping the shoulders away from your ears. And then on an exhale, ease your way into a down dog stretch, trying to drop a little bit more weight down through the heels every time you hit the down dog frame. Let's try that one more time. Come through your plank line, ease your way into your up dog frame, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, nice and strong through the arms, glorious stretch into the lower belly. And then exhale to hit your down dog frame. Hiking your bum up as high as you can, almost feeding your nose through your hands as if you wanted to tap your knee with your nose. Then soften the right knee and kick up the right leg behind you into a three-legged dog. Use a swinging motion to step that leg through between the two hands, as close to the right arm as you can. We're going to open up into a warrior two, drop the back leg to 90, and windmill your frame open. Arms are parallel to the floor, palms are looking down. You're not leaning into it, so your weight is coming down evenly through the pelvis. And you're trying to tap the wall in front of you and the wall behind you. Reach through both hands. Then tuck your back toes under, coming into a warrior one-like lunge, floating the hands overhead and trying to drop down a little bit more through the pelvis as you float the back heel off the floor. Then think about moving dynamically between those two frames. Find your way back to your warrior two frame, back leg opened up at 90 and totally anchored into the floor. Arms are parallel to the floor. Then change it up. Pivot on the back leg, drop down into a lower lunge. Frame your ears on either side with the hands and keep reaching tall for the ceiling. Let's do that one more time. Find your warrior two frame, reach through both sets of hands. Then pivot on that back foot and ease your way back into a warrior one-like modification. You're going to drop your hands either side of the lead leg and find your way back into a plank line. Play with that little sway back and forth, almost drawing the weight over your wrists and then back into your heels. Then come to stillness with the weight bearing equal on the hands and the feet. Come through your plank line, finding your way into an up dog. Dropping the shoulders away from your ears. Awesome stretch into the belly and the legs. Ease your way into a down dog, maybe sliding the feet slightly forward to try and anchor down more through the back of your heels. Let's do that twice more. Find your way into an up dog by transitioning through a plank line. Drop the shoulders away from the ears, strong through the arms and the belly. Find your way back into your down dog. One more time. Find your up dog. And then on a nice sighing exhale, ease your way into your down dog. Holding your down dog frame, we're going to do a little hop or a step up. Maybe find the way onto the tips of your fingers. Soften through the knees. Finding a relaxed dog and then hop up or take a step one leg at a time. Feet are in parallel. Ragdoll style, you're going to peel up. Come back to your original standing position on the mat. Find that sense of length through the spine. We're going to run through that whole sequencing on the other side. Interlace your hands, invert them and push them away from you. Float your hands overhead and start your little palm tree sway side to side. Floating your hands off center to one side while you bump your hips in the opposite direction. Keeping your feet totally grounded as you play with that little sway, trying to open up through the arms and the ribs, getting into those tight spots in the hips. Stand up nice and tall and bring your hands down in active prayer, stopping just in front of your heart center. Take a big breath in to prepare, keeping your parallel leg line. Exhale and sit back into chair, floating your prayer hands overhead. Gently peel up nice and tall and pierce the ceiling. Exhale to sit back in chair, bringing your hands down in front of your heart. Inhale to pierce the sky. Let's do that one more time. Playing with your breath, syncing your movement to your breath. And then fold forward into a halfway lift. So you're more or less in a tabletop line, weight bearing equal on your feet, and you're just dangling your arms down towards the floor, making a nice tabletop line with your body. On an exhale, fold forward as far as you can, maybe connecting your fingertips or your palms to the mat and making your crown nice and heavy to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold forward. And step the left leg back, forging a little pyramid frame between both legs, and start to rock the body weight back and forth. If you find that connecting to the mat is not an option for you, maybe place your hands on your hips and just subtly play with that rocking motion. See where your body needs to be. Then ease your way from here into the plank line. And find that little swaying motion over the wrists and back into the heels, trying to keep your body line as parallel to the mat as you can manage. Come to stillness in your plank and start transitioning into an up dog by coming through the plank line with control through the hips, the shoulders and the core. On a nice exhale, find your way into a down dog frame, maybe subtly sliding the feet forward just slightly so that you can get more drop down through the back of your heels. When you think of transitioning, you can subtly slide the feet back if you need to, wiggle them back. Come through your plank line, arc through the spine, drop the shoulders away from the ears, find your up dog frame. Exhale and hit a down dog, subtly sliding the feet back forward again so that you can get more drop down. Subtly slide or wiggle the feet back as you come through the plank line to find your up dog frame. And in your down dog frame, taking an awesome stretch. While you're taking your awesome stretch here, you're going to think about how you're going to set yourself up in a warrior 2 frame on side 2. So you're going to soften the left leg, kick it up behind you, find a 3-legged dog, and then swing that leg through as close to the inside of the left hand as you can. Drop the back leg to 90. Wiggle your frame open and find your warrior 2 frame, reaching long through the arms and the crown of your head. Then pivot on the back foot, drop a little bit lower through the pelvis, float both hands overhead and come to a modified warrior 1 lunge. Not leaning all the weight forward, so subtly pushing the energy back into the heel that's floating behind you. Then open back up into your warrior 2 frame, rounding through the back leg as you reach tall through your fingertips and the crown. Ease your way back into your warrior 1 lunge, tucking the back toes under, so all 10 toes looking to the front of the mat, trying to drop a little bit lower through the pelvis. We're going to do that one more time. Find your warrior 2 frame. Then pivot, drop down lower to the floor, tucking those toes under. We're going to ease our way from here into a plank, and you're going to gently sway your weight back and forth. Come to stillness with the weight bearing equal and ease your way into an up dog by dropping the hips with control through the plank line, arcing through the spine, stretching into the neck, the shoulders, the belly, the tops of your thighs. On a nice sign, exhale, bleed your way into a down dog, maybe subtly sliding the feet forward as you do so to get more drop down through the back of your legs. Think of feeding the nose through as if you wanted to tap your knees with your nose. Then come back to your up dog, maybe subtly sliding the feet back as you do so to get maximum stretch in your up dog. Exhale. exhale for your down dog. Let's do that one more time. Find your way into your up dog. Use your breath. Use a nice almost sigh release to get you there. And then exhale for your down dog one last time. Holding the down dog frame, you're going to hop or step forward, maybe coming onto the tips of the fingers and softening through the knees. Take a bunny hop forward, landing softly on the balls of your feet with the legs in parallel. Ground through the feet and then ragdoll style, leading with the back of your ribs, restack, realign your body as you stand up nice and tall. Take a moment here, just standing up tall, dropping the fingertips along your side, trying to lengthen the ears away from your shoulders as you find a modified mountain Tadasana. Then let's bring it into a little standing hamstring stretch. You can think of this as a standing Hanumanasana. You're going to step your right leg forward. Think of forging a little pyramid frame between the two legs, maybe placing the hands on your hips as you place the heel on the floor with the toes looking up to the sky. Either just staying here, standing up nice and tall, or see what it feels like when you start coming into a little tabletop line, almost bumping the weight back into your bum. If that feels good and you've got more stretch to give, maybe you could drop your fingertips down either to the floor, either side of your lead leg, or you could place a block on the floor in front of you, or maybe you could reach the undercarriage of your foot, maybe grasping hold of the ball of your foot and just tugging softly on the toes and the ball to get even more stretch up that lead leg. Then peel back up. Stand up nice and tall where you were. And float the left arm out in front of you so that it's parallel to the front of the mat. Bend your right knee, think knee to hip, and brush your right hand down the chain of the leg, reaching for your foot. Drop the right knee to the floor, and then focus on your pelvis. Begin with a neutral pelvis, then tilt your pelvis towards the 12 o'clock position so it feels like your knees coming closer to your nose, and then relax back. Do that little tilt to the 12 o'clock position 3 times. The same time squeezing the energy between the two knees together. Then transition from here into a dancer Uttanasana by starting to hinge forward from the hip. Kick the back foot into your hand. Don't hug it to your bum. And hold a little quad stretch here. Then step forward back into your hamstring stretch. Maybe hands on your hips as you come into a tabletop line. Or maybe reach for the floor. Or maybe the undercarriage of your foot. Then maybe placing the hands on the floor for balance, step the right foot across the left. Take a gentle twist to the right, maybe opening up your hands in a soft T-frame. If the floor is not accessible for you and you don't have a block that you can put your hand on, you could maybe just reach for the calf of the nearest leg as you take your twist. Then ease your way back to center and take your twist in the opposite direction. Trying to almost forge a soft T-like frame through the arms. Lead your way back to center and uncross the legs. Fold forward as far as you can while floating the hands behind you, maybe just reaching through your fingertips or seeing if you can fist the hands by bringing the two palms together and almost trying to reach through your knuckles as if you wanted to tap the wall behind you. Drop the crown down as far as you can. Play with that weight bearing between the balls and the heels of your feet and try to Even out the weight on the front and the back of your foot. Then uncouple your hands, maybe placing them on your hips or on the floor if you have the range of motion, and step back into a pyramid stretch. Trying to ground through both feet, taking the stance as narrow or as wide as you need to, and just holding the stretch. All 10 toes looking to the front of the mat. Maybe you're high on your fingertips, or maybe you've managed to drop down, trying to tap your nose closer to your knee or your shin bone. Maybe you'd like to use a block on the floor in front of you, or maybe you're comfortable just holding a tabletop line with your hands on your hips. Parsvottanasana, play where you're comfortable. Then step up the back leg, bringing your feet back into parallel, and just fold forward as far as you can. Maybe hands on the mat. Maybe you can invert the hands and walk them past your ankles to get even more drop down. Maybe you'd like to hold onto the back of your calves. Or maybe you're comfortable placing your hands on your shins or using a block as a prop on the floor underneath you to just lean forward. Hold your forward fold, Uttanasana. Keep in mind that your head has been inverted for a while now, so when you come up really gently and make sure you bring the head up last. Soften through your knees and ragdoll style. Peel up, leading with the back of your ribs to restack, realign, and find your way into that modified mountain. Standing up as tall as you can, dropping the fingertips down, shoulders dropping away from the ears. And take a little step forward with your left leg, heel grounded, toes looking up to the ceiling. Maybe staying here, just placing your hands on your hips and looking for length in the spine. Maybe transitioning and taking a little tabletop lean forward. If this feels good, maybe placing your fingertips on the mat, either side of the lead leg. Or maybe you'd like to reach for the undercarriage of the foot, maybe just holding with one hand if you need to keep your fingertips on the mat for support. Or maybe if the balance is good, reaching with both hands and just subtly tugging on the ball and the toes. Then ease your way back to your standing frame, ragdoll style, peel up. Float the right arm out in front of you so that your palm is parallel to the floor. Bend your left leg, think knee to hip. Brush your hand down the chain of the leg and reach for the foot. Drop the left knee down to the floor and then begin with a neutral pelvis. Tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position so it feels like the knees coming closer to the belly button, and then relax back down. You're going to do that twice more. Playing with that little pelvic curl, you're going to feel quite an awesome stretch into that left leg. And then ease your way into dancer from here by leaning forward, so you're hinging from the hip. You're not hugging the foot into your bum. You're kicking it away from your bum as you take a gentle dancer stretch. Then stand up tall again. Step your left foot forward, maybe hands on the hips, toes looking up to the sky as you take that standing hamstring stretch. Maybe coming through a tabletop line to place your fingertips on the mat or to reach for the undercarriage of your foot as you hold that stretch. Then maybe placing your fingertips on the mat if you need to, or keeping them on your hips. Cross the left foot in front of the right. And take a soft twist to the left. Maybe one hand on the floor, or maybe reaching for the calf of the lead leg as you find that twist. Or you could use a block on the floor. Then try the twist to the other side. Lead your way back to center, Uncross the legs. Float the hands behind you, reaching along through your fingertips, or maybe make a little fist. Try to knuckle the wall behind you. So think of squeezing the two shoulder blades closer together, and then just make your crown nice and heavy to the floor. Maybe subtly rocking the weight back and forth to find that optimum position with the weight bearing equal on the balls and the heels of your feet. And then just unbind the hands and come into a gentle pyramid. Let's step the right leg back and just hold your pyramid stretch. Maybe palms on the mat, maybe fingertips on the mat, maybe hands on your hips, holding a tabletop line. Try to keep yourself square through the hips and the shoulders, wherever you decide to play. Try and ground through both feet, all 10 toes looking to the front of the mat, and the weight bearing equal on the front and the back of each foot. Then step up the legs and come into a fold. Maybe both hands on the mat. Maybe you'd like to invert the hands and walk them through. Maybe you'd like to hold onto your calves or find a placement on your shin bones or even the top of your thighs, or modify by placing a block on the floor in front of you. Hold your stretch. From this little forward fold, Uttanasana, we're going to find our way into a seated frame on the mat. Maybe you'd like to ease your way onto the haunches by bending through the knees, allowing the heels to disconnect from the floor, pausing here for a moment or two, maybe pushing off your fingertips, and then finding your way into a seat on the mat, maybe walking your hands back. Extend the legs, give them a little shake out. Sit up nice and tall. Then let's bend the right knee and place the sole of the foot on the inseam of the left leg. You're going to take a big breath in. Place your right hand on the inside of the leg. Push with maybe the elbow on the inside of that leg. Push the leg away. Resist with the knee and just drop your fingertips to the mat. Using the fingertips of your left hand to just prop your frame up nice and tall. Sit up as tall as you can and brace actively into your extended leg. Then take the twist in the opposite direction, hugging the knee towards your chest with the left hand and using the fingertips of the right hand to just prop your spine up nice and tall. Come back to side one. Right arm on the inside of the leg, pushing away. If you've got more to give, maybe you can start rotating through the arm, wrapping the arm around your leg to maybe bind both hands behind your back in a little bear grip, pulling the two sets of fingertips apart behind your back. You could even use a strap or a hand towel between the two palms to help you make that connection if the hands don't quite want to meet behind your back. Come back to center and just fold softly forward, maybe placing the hands on the top of your shin bones or maybe palms or forearms to the floor. If you've got the range of motion, you could maybe wrap around your toes, or you could use a strap or a hand towel around the feet as you find Paschimottanasana. Sit up nice and tall. Let's repeat that little mariachi twist on side two. Bend the left knee, place the sole of the foot on the floor. Take the left arm to the inside of the left leg. Use your elbow in the back of your arm to push that leg away as you resist. Use the fingertips of the right arm on the floor behind you to just prop your spine up nice and tall and hold that stretch. Mariachi Asana 1. Then try the twist in the opposite direction, starting to twist towards your bent leg. Hug that thigh and that knee in towards your chest, using the fingertips of the other arm to just prop your frame up nice and tall. Make sure that the supportive foot is braced and active as if you were kicking a wall away from yourself. Then come back into a gentle forward fold. Every time you find Paschimottanasana, try to get a little bit more release through the body. Not overthinking the stretch, just using a nice relaxing exhaling sigh to just make your chest heavy to the top of your thighs. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. On an exhale, bend the right knee this time, bringing the sole of the foot to the inseam of the left leg. And then just try to take a gentle forward fold. Maybe hands on the mat, maybe forearms on the mat, maybe wrapping around that foot. Don't overthink the stretch, just play where you're comfortable. And peel back up and see if you can come into a figure 4 hybrid by taking your right foot and resting the ankle on the left thigh. Maybe supporting your toes with the left hand and just pushing the right knee away with your right hand. Keep your left foot active. Then maybe tucking the heel even closer towards your hip line, almost coming into a half lotus hybrid, and just pushing the knee away, trying to get a little bit more rotation through your trunk this time. Uncouple the legs, wiggle them out, and come into your forward fold. Breathing long, soft, and even. Let's try that on side 2. Sit up nice and tall. Bend your left knee, place the sole of the foot on the inseam of the right leg. Finding a modified gait, and then think Janusasana, head to knee, as you just softly fold forward. Keep belly to spine and just breathe as deeply as you can into the back and the sides of your ribs as you fold forward. Then sit up nice and tall and think figure 4 from a seated position. Take your left ankle, try to rest it on the right thigh. Maybe just support the toes of the left foot with your right hand and use the palm of the left hand to just gently think of prizing the knee away from your nose. Don't worry about how close it's coming to the floor. And then either staying here or trying to tuck into more of a half lotus line by bringing the heel of your left foot closer towards the inside of your right hip bone. Pushing the knee away, maybe getting a little bit more rotation through the body as if you were looking around the right shoulder towards the back of your mat. Pause here, taking a few generous breaths. And then when you're ready to come out, uncouple and bleed your way back into your forward fold, giving the legs a little shake out if you need it before softly draping yourself forward. Every time you come into Paschimottanasana, your forward fold, try to get a little bit more release in the lower back. Use your exhale. Open up the little spaces between each vertebra as you softly fold forward. Peel back up. We're going to think of coming into a modified Hindulasana, rock the baby. Bend the right knee and then reach for the right foot. Almost think of using your left hand to hold on to the foot. Use your right hand to hold on to the knee and just gently begin rocking that limb back and forth, sitting up as tall as you can. If this feels good, see if you can modify the movement slightly. Make a little crook with your left elbow. Place the foot into the crook, wrapping around a little bit more aggressively, maybe to interlace and make a basket for your baby as you rock the baby. Or maybe just holding onto the shin bone and the knee if making a basket is not happening for you today. Just rock your baby gently. And then maybe come to stillness and just try to hug that whole shin bone in towards your body. You can soften through the back line as much as you need to. Uncouple, wriggle the legs up, and find your way back into your forward fold. Keep your breathing long, soft, and relaxed. Peel back up and try that little rock the baby on the other side. Bending the left leg, reaching for the foot with your right hand, supporting the weight of the foot and the ankle, and maybe just reaching with your palm to support the knee as you rock. If this feels good and you've got a little bit more to give, you can maybe make a little crook with your right elbow. Feed the foot into the crook so you get more wrap around. Maybe that ability to interlace the hands and make a basket for your baby as you rock the baby. Or maybe just supporting your shin bone and your knee, but keeping the foot in the crook of your elbow. Play where you're comfortable. Soften your back line as much as you need to. And then maybe just think of hugging, coming to stillness and hugging that whole shin bone in towards your chest. Unbind, shake your legs out, come back into your forward fold. Thinking knee to nose, every time you fold forward, try to come down a little bit more. Breathing long, soft, and relaxed. Peel back up, sit up nice and tall and tuck into easy sit by bending the left leg, bringing the heel in as close to the perineum as you can, and then stacking the right leg in front of the left. Just gently fold forward, maybe to place your forearms on the mat if you can, or maybe just palms or fingertips, or you could use a block and just lean into the block. Breathing as deeply as you can into the back and the sides of your ribs. Then staying here, or maybe electing to come into a half lotus line by sitting up nice and tall, reaching for your front foot, tucking that heel in as close to the inside of the opposite hip bone as you can, finding a half lotus seat, and maybe draping yourself forward again. Maybe pushing off your forearms and sinking your hips back nice and deeply. Peel up nice and tall. Take a big breath in. Twist away from your top leg, placing one hand on the floor and using your right hand to push the right knee away. Then twisting towards your top leg, opposite hand to knee, push that knee away as you come into the twist. Find your way back to center and subtly change the lead leg. Coming back into Sukhasana, easy sit with the left leg in front of the right. To softly fold forward, maybe fingertips, palms, or forearms on the mat, or use a block, placing it underneath your hands and just leaning into the block. Make your crown nice and heavy to the floor. Just breathe as deeply as you can into the back and the sides of your ribs. Staying here, or electing to come into a half lotus line, Ardha Padmasana, by taking the left foot, so your lead leg, the front leg, and bringing that heel in as close to the opposite hip bone as you can, stacking and resting that foot on the top of the opposite thigh, and then just gently coming into a twist. Let's start the twist on the same side. So twist away from your lead leg, pushing that knee away with your palm. Don't worry about how close that knee's coming to the floor. Just open up beautifully through the groin and the hip flexor. And then take a twist towards your lead leg, pushing opposite hand to knee. Take a few generous breaths here. And then we'll fold forward before we change our orientation on the mat and try to find our way onto the back. So there are a few ways you can get onto the back. You can either just subtly uncross your legs and just peel yourself onto the back, or you can play with a little rocking motion, maybe crossing at the ankles. Make sure that you've got enough runway to play behind you. Hugging the feet in towards your bum as you round out into a little ball frame, and maybe just rocking your body back and forth a few times, and maybe subtly letting go of the feet, tucking into a little tight wall, holding on to your knees, maybe starting to extend the legs and almost giving me a soft forward fold and a mini plow. You're going to end on the back, and we'll take it into a little hamstring stretch on the right. Maybe anchoring through your left foot, then knee to nose on the right. And then when you're ready, extend the right leg up to the sky, maybe holding on to the back chain of the leg. Maybe seeing if you can extend your supportive leg, and just hold here, bracing actively into that foot. If you can't reach for the undercarriage, not the undercarriage, for the hamstring and wrap around the hamstring, maybe you could use a towel. And we're not holding onto the foot today. We're not doing big toe. We're holding on to the back of the thigh, and we're just bracing actively. If you're feeling the lower back, you can bend your supportive leg and ground through that foot. From here, we're going to come into a little cow face stretch. You're going to relax the arms at your side, cross the right leg over the left, bending softly through the knees as if you were sitting cross-legged on the couch. Then maybe scoop to peel up off your shoulders and reach for the foot on either side of your body, just hugging the feet in towards your hips, and then maybe bleeding your shoulders and your head back down to the mat. And keep tugging the feet down as if you were trying to get them to wrap around your hips. Keep your shoulders and your neckline as relaxed as you can manage. Try not to tense through the jaw. We'll find our way from here into a little supine eagle. Bring your arms into a cactus frame on the mat. Elbows bent, palms looking up to the ceiling. Either stay here with your feet crossed as they are, or take the toes of the right foot and see if you can tuck them behind the calf of the other leg. Take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, just drop your knees off center to the left while you look over the right shoulder. Just drop down as far as your lower back wants to play, so don't overthink the stretch. Peel your way back to center. As you come back to center, uncross your legs and roll to the left. Coming into a little quad stretch, keeping both knees bent. Reach for the foot of the top leg and maybe just rest your head down using your bottom arm as a long pillow. Kick the foot actively into your hand. Maybe bring the knee in towards your hip. And then relax one leg on top of the other and try to line up your neck, your spine, and your feet on the same axis. Interlace the hands behind your head And bring the two elbow points together in front of your eye line. On a long inhale, start opening up the top elbow and drop it as far as you can to the floor behind you, tracking that movement of the elbow with your eye and then holding as you come into the twist. Take 2 or 3 breaths here. When you're ready to close, retrace your path back, tracking that elbow as it gently comes back to the center line. Then rolling onto your back, maybe gently cradle rocking your lower back out by holding around the shins as you rock your body side to side. We're going to repeat that little stretch sequence on the other side. Ground through your right foot and float your left leg up to the sky, trying to bind around the back of the thigh. Brace actively into your left foot. Either keep your supported leg grounded, or you can start softly extending through that leg as well and brace actively into that foot as well. Pause here, looking for length through the legs. And then think of easing your way into your little cow face Gomukhasana stretch. Drop the arms at your side, cross the left leg over the right. Scoop to peel up off the shoulders, reaching one foot at a time. And then just relax your head and your shoulders back to the mat and keep gently tugging down on the toes as if you were trying to get the soles of your feet to just wrap around your hips and giving them some love. Take a few gentle breaths here. Then you're going to utilize this frame to set up your supine eagle. Open up your arms into a little cactus frame. Keep the cross of your legs where it is, or take the toes of the top leg, your left foot, and tuck it behind the calf of your right leg. Coming into a little eagle bind. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, float both knees to the right while you look to the left. Only dropping down as far as your lower back wants to play. So don't force the stretch. Relax into it. Peel your way back to center. Uncross your legs. You're going to roll onto your right side. As you roll onto the right side, you're going to reach for your top leg, your left leg. Using your bottom arm as a pillow, you're just going to take a little stretch. Maybe kicking the foot actively into your hand. And then think of drawing the kneecap in towards your waist so that you get a little bit of resistance. Then let go of the top leg. Bend both knees, stack them. Try to line up your neck, your spine, and your feet on the same axis. Tuck both hands behind your head and bring the two elbow points together in front of your eye line. Taking a long inhale in for maybe a slow count of 10, start opening up your top elbow and keep tracking the elbow with your eyes so that your head and your neck comes along for the journey. And then drop that elbow as far as you can to the floor behind you and hold that soft twist, trying to stretch through the top of your rib cage. And you're going to feel quite an awesome stretch into the left side of your ribs and into the lower back. When you're ready to come back, retrace your path back slowly. Track that elbow as it comes back to its original start position, tapping its partner. Then roll gently onto your back, cradle rocking out, and trying to subtly reposition yourself in the middle of the mat to end off your playtime for today. Maybe just tapping both toes to the mat. You could maybe interlace the hands, invert them, take a little stretch, pushing into the heels of your hands as you extend through your legs, bracing actively through the feet, trying to wiggle and stretch out through your hips holding a comfortable neutral spine position. Then bend your knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat, and end off your playtime by maybe bringing your hands to prayer mudra in front of your heart and tapping your fingertips or your thumbs to your lips or your nose on the words Namaste. Stay on your back for as long as you need to. If you've got time, you can bring it into Shavasana and just chill. When you're ready to come out of your supine position, just gently roll onto your side, pausing here in a soft little fetal pose, maybe even using your bottom arm as a pillow before gently pushing up. Find your way into a seat before you come into a standing frame. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today. I do hope that you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Remember to shoot me your comments. Make sure your notifications are on and be ready for playtime on the mat. Till then, keep it light.